Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. In today's video, I'm going to be ranking my Unearthly Cosmetics palettes. You guys have been asking for this for a little while now, and now that I have a recent palette from them, I figured now is the time to do it. They are constantly coming out with new things, but I figured now is a good time to just slide it in since I got something recently and I've been loving it, and we're gonna rank some stuff. I love Unearthly Cosmetics. They were formerly Alien Cosmetics, so I still have a couple palettes that say Alien on the cover, but they are Unearthly now. They've been Unearthly for maybe about a year now, if I had to guess. I love the brand. I think they come out with really cool and unique things. I get really excited when she is teasing a new product, and I'm just really excited to see where else she takes her brand in the future. I will have the Unearthly Cosmetics shop linked down below for you, and I do have an affiliate code with the brand as well. You can use my code battybean in all caps to save 10% on their site, and I appreciate it so much if you use it. We're gonna get into this ranking. I have 11 palettes, and I'm really excited to share them with you. It was really tough to rank these. I was pretty quickly set on my top 5, but everything else in the lower half, I was so unsure about because I don't dislike any of these, so it was really painful to put any towards the bottom, but that's how these rankings go. Something has to go at the bottom. I don't really have any ill will towards the most bottom palettes, but some things I just like more than others, you know? Before we hop into the ranking, I did of course film this look as I do always. This look is already up on my Instagram and TikTok. And as far as my accessories go, these plugs are Love Kills Boutique. I think this choker is Shop Sun & Co. and this hat is from Witchwood Bags. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and rank my Unearthly Cosmetics palettes. All right, kicking it off with number 11. If I really had to pick one that I liked the least, it did end up being this one. I don't reach for it as often, and she has actually revamped this palette to a newer version, and I think I would like that one a lot more. But the older version as it stands, it is ranked number 11. It is my Bunnies palette. It looks like this. This was actually the first palette I ever tried from the brand. I got this, I wanna say, springtime of, I don't think it was last year. It might have been spring of 2020. No, it might have been last year. I think it was last year actually. And the shimmers in here are really pretty, specifically this one and this one. They are very glidey on the lid, very shifty. They have a really pretty shine to them. And the mattes are fine. I feel like I like their newer matte formula better. I don't know what they've changed. And overall, this just isn't the palette that I'm reaching for first, you know? I don't like the mismatched pan sizes. That's not really my preferred thing. I would love for them to look all the same, which they do in the revamped version. It's just all square pans and they look very concise and really cute. I'll actually insert a picture up here just so you can see the newer version because it just looks like a better version of what this was. And I do think I would like that one more, but as it stands, this one I do like the least out of all of her palettes specifically. I just feel like she has done such amazing things since this palette that it was really easy to put this one in the bottom. Ranked number 10, I am giving to my Sleepover palette. It looks like this. Now I do love a pink purple color story. I think it is really cute and the shimmers in here are gorgeous. I just feel like in some of her other palettes, the shimmers are even better. And as much as I do like pink and purple together, I don't know, maybe it's just lately I'm not super drawn to use that combo. I'm very much in spooky season vibes, not that bright blue eyeshadow screams spooky season, but you know what I mean. This just isn't the number one priority for me. And again, I do just feel like her shimmers have gotten better with some of the other palettes. So that's why I rank this one a little bit lower, but don't get me wrong, I do like this one significantly more than the Bunnies palette. I love this palette. I have no intention on decluttering it or anything. I think it's a really cute palette. Ranked number 9 is going to be my Vitality palette. This is a newer palette from the brand. It looks like this. I think this is a very fun, chaotic color story. It's so weird and wonderful, and I feel really inspired when I use this one because it's just, you have so many options, but they're very weird options, you know? We have weird grungy colors mixed with some brights. I think it's a really fun palette. Again, the only reason I ranked this one a little bit lower is just because even though the shimmers in here are really pretty and I like these shimmers more than the Sleepover palette, I feel like the other palettes just have better shimmers. And Unearthly, they have such a killer shimmer formula. So when I don't have that specifically from them, I almost feel a little let down in the sense that I just want a little bit more because I know they have the potential for it. But I do have a lot of fun with this palette. The mattes are really fun to work with. And again, these shimmers are really pretty. Just some of her shimmers are very shifty, sparkly, textured, magical. And I probably would have bumped this one up a little bit more if the shimmers were more like that, but it's still a really lovely palette. I just couldn't really rank it much higher because everything else I do just love more. By the way, I have done videos with all of these palettes across my channel, across my Instagram and TikTok, sometimes multiple videos with different ones, so you can always search my platforms for some inspo. Next up, number 8 is my In the Dark palette. I love this palette and I really thought this one was gonna get ranked higher. Like, I was shocked that this one didn't end up like number 5 or 6 at the very least. I was shocked that this one ended up a little bit lower, but as much as I love this one, it is grungy and murky and cool toned and swampy and all the good things, and I really like the 2 shimmers that are in here. This is actually a revamped version of the palette. She launched this as a limited edition palette back, I think last holiday season, and then she revamped it recently and switched out one of the shimmers, which I think you're able to get the newer shimmer if you own the original. I'm not totally sure. I would check with the brand to be sure, but I think that's a thing that she did as well. But regardless, as much as I'm loving this palette, I think the colors are so fun and these shimmers are really pretty. Everything else just beat it out by a bit, you know? Some of these palettes either have just a color story that screams to me a little bit more, or the shimmers are more special. There's just something. But again, I love this palette. Like, starting here, I absolutely love them. They're like my favorites. Like, I love this significantly more than the Vitality. I think this is such a fun palette, and I have a strong feeling this is gonna end up in my winter favorites this year. Next up, number 7. Number 7 is my Don't Be Jelly palette. Again, this is another one that I really thought was gonna end up higher. I used to be so against all shimmer palettes. Maybe it was just because I don't know what it was. I just felt like I had to have mattes to do a complete look. Now I definitely see the value in an all shimmer palette. It's definitely a really good companion. I personally can make this work just by itself. I love tapping just something sparkly all over the lid and kind of blending it out. I love utilizing it with winged liner and kind of layering it on top to have a really shifty winged liner moment. There are so many good things you can do with an all shimmer palette, and I really like this one. I like that it's only 9 pans. It's very concise, very cute. The shimmers in here are absolutely gorgeous. We have some beautiful textured shimmers. Some of them are just very metallic. I love this little palette. And it's almost hard for me to give a solid reason why I didn't rank this one higher. I guess it's just everything else gave me better vibes. I don't know. Sometimes that's kind of what I go with when I'm organizing my palettes for these videos. I kind of just look at different ones and I'm like, what am I more likely to reach for? And I kind of just go based on that, based on vibes, based on my likelihood to reach for it, based on how much I've already reached for it. And that's where this one kind of landed, kind of right smack in the middle. I love this palette though. I think it's a really cute companion. Moving on to number 6 before I get into my top 5, it's gonna be my Leather and Lace palette. This is such a fantastic palette. I included it in my autumn favorites this year. It's just so good. I love how it's organized with the shimmers, lights, mids, deeps. We have the olives, the pumpkin-y oranges, and the plummy purples. It's such a good grungy fall palette. I love this. The 3 shimmers are really pretty. They make really good toppers if you use a light hand, but they're also really pretty and shifty and opaque if you use like more of it. These mattes all blend so beautifully. You can kind of stick row by row or you can mix and match, and these all just play so well together, and they're grungy and wonderful, and I love this palette. The top 5 did just beat it out by just a little bit. I really thought this one was gonna be in the top 5, but alas, it ended up being here pretty close to the top 5. I really like this one. These rankings are always so hard to do when I don't dislike things. I think especially because like my makeup consumption habits, I try not to buy just everything, you know what I mean? I try not to like grab everything that's available. I try to only like get things or even use things if it's PR, which these were all PR, but I try to only use things that I think I'm actually genuinely gonna get use out of. Like if I don't see myself using it like again, I try not to use it at all. You know what I mean? I want something that is potentially gonna add value to my collection. I don't wanna use things just for the sake of using them. I try to be as mindful as I can while still trying out things for you guys. It's a really tough balance. And then it makes videos like this hard because there's nothing for me to really trash because I haven't tried anything trash. Moving on to the top 5. I don't think any of these are gonna surprise you. Number 5 is the All I Ever Wanted palette. This is just a shimmer explosion. It is 20 pans of magic. And while on one hand, I do tend to prefer smaller palettes, like in theory, on paper, the 9 pan all shimmer Don't Be Jelly should appeal to me more than this one, but the tones in here, they're just so pretty. For me, this is just such a fun palette. I love having all these options to dip into. It's almost like having a bunch of single shadows like next to me in one palette where they're not all separate. It's just such a fun palette. I love the different shifts. I love the different tones. It's just such an exciting palette for me. I love playing with this one. But I like the next 4 just a little bit more. Number 4 is my All I Ever Wanted Volume 2. And this one is just like the other one, except totally different colors. And these colors do speak to my soul a bit more. I love the blues, greens, all these different yellows. This is just such a funky shimmer palette. Again, all the different textures, all the different colors. This is just such a treasure trove for me to just dive into. It is so much fun. I was just so happy with just how much I fell in love with these giant all shimmer palettes. They make me really happy. The quality is amazing, the colors are amazing, and I truly had no choice but to rank these so high. But the next 3 are really fun, really curated, just amazing color stories that I have a lot of fun with, and I was like without a doubt sure these were gonna be my top 3. Number 3 is actually what I'm wearing right now. It is my Hauntingly Glamorous palette in collaboration with Sydney Nicole Adams, who I adore. She makes really beautiful looks on Instagram. I just love this. I love the Halloween theming with the bright, funky colors. I love that it's kind of like purple, green, red. It's just such a weird color story and I absolutely love it. These 2 toppery shimmers are so pretty. I would have loved to see more shimmers in here, but I also do love it as is. I think it's really gorgeous. I love that they included really beautiful, deep jewel tone mattes to pair with these brighter mattes as well. I think there's a lot you can do with this and it just makes me really excited. I was really happy to bust it out again today. I love playing with this palette and I knew this one was gonna be in my top 3. Number 2 is my newest palette from them and I am head over heels in love with it. It is the Weirdos palette. It is so cute. She came out with like 4 horror Halloween themed palettes and this is the one that I picked out and I just love it. It is so fun. It's just such a weird, grungy color story and I love it. I love these tones together. It's just kind of murky, but kind of bright. The shimmers in here are so good. I really like this shade, the Weirdos. I don't have a formula like this from them in anything else. It's almost like a metallic putty texture. It just gives my lids kind of a, like an inky look. Like it's kind of slick looking, but it's not like shiny metallic. And then shimmers top really pretty on top of it because it has a little bit of that puttiness, but it also doesn't move around. Very unique formula. And then the other shimmers are just so shifty and beautiful. Feather is so cool. It has like this like pinkish red shift to it. Works really cool as a face highlight and also all over the lid. I just am having such a fun time with this palette and I was certain this was going to be ranked very high. But of course, my number 1 favorite from Unearthly. This will be no surprise to anyone. I've raved about this so many times. I've used it so many times. It is my Not Normal palette. I absolutely adore this. It is so cool. This is what I called my grungy Beetlejuice palette before I had any official like Beetlejuice themed palettes. It's just perfect. I love the grungy like mustards, greens, and purples. It's such a fun swampy color story. I love the grungy tones. If you know me at all, this is so up my alley. The shimmers in here are really pretty, especially Gemini. It's again such a pretty face highlight, but also beautiful all over the lid. The mattes in here are just wonderful. I love this palette. I can't see anything else beating this out for me from this brand in particular. This has just been such a star for me, although I will say the Weirdos got pretty close to beating this one out, but this one still holds the title as my favorite one from the brand. I've had so much fun with it. And yeah, that wraps it up for my Unearthly Cosmetics ranking. All 11 palettes ranked. This was tough, but I'm pretty satisfied with my order. I hope my thoughts made sense to you. I would love to hear your thoughts. Do you have any of these palettes? Do you want any of them? Have you tried Unearthly before? And feel free to rank your Unearthly palettes if you have more than one down below. If you made it to the end of this video, think of your favorite palette from Unearthly and then leave emojis that represent that palette. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot. And if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I am battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. Oh, Kanade, are we already gonna start this? She's right here. Oh, and there she goes. Let's just be a good girl today so I can get some work done. Do you agree with that? Do you want to leave now? If I let you out, I'm not letting you back in. That's the deal. All right, I'll do it this time. Goodbye. See you later.